Okay, here we are at Practice Plus for Test 25. So you and your partner have already gone through, you've done this work, now it's time to check and see how you did and increase your understanding a bit if you had a little bit of confusion. So in problem number 1, we're looking at two individuals. We're looking at Alex and Ryan and how many points they earned over the course of 8 games. Now, before we go any further, double check your work and make sure you made the changes that I talked about making. And here were the changes. You were not supposed to do part B because we're not talking about quartiles. The same thing with part D. We're not talking about quartiles. So B and D were not part of your work. What you were supposed to do was find the mean, the median, and the mode for both of these data sets. So if you haven't done that, be sure you do that now. Pause the video and go ahead and find those. All right, we're back ready to work. So when we look at Alex's data, we're looking at the data for Alex. Here's what we notice. There are several outliers. There are several pieces of data that are away from the main group. Now you might think 13 isn't that far away from 17, 18, 19, and 20. But if you're really boring down on this data, that's enough of a difference that we would consider using the median for this. So for Alex's data, the median would be the better measure of central tendency. We use medians anytime we have those outliers. That's why real estate agents use medians, so that if you have that really, really expensive house, it doesn't throw off the data. It's why they use medians when they do salaries in corporations or salaries on football teams. You get a guy like Peyton Manning who's paid $18 million, and then you have a whole bunch of guys earning $2 and $3 million. You can't add those up and divide by how many there are. You just don't get a real measure of central tendency, a real average. So we use medians. So let's go ahead and calculate the median for this group. Remember, anytime we do a median, what we do is we take the data and we line it up, we reorder it from least to greatest. So we take all of the data and we stick it in a line, least to greatest, and then we figure out what's in the middle. And one of the best ways to do that is cross off the smallest and the largest, and then go back, cross off the smallest and the largest, until you end up with 1 or 2 numbers in the middle. This has 2 numbers in the middle, so what we would do technically is we would do 18 plus 18 divided by 2. Well, that's going to be 18. Anytime the number is the same, then we're going to get that. So our median for this data is 18. Our mean for this data, let's grab our calculator here. Our mean for this data is calculated by adding all of these numbers together and then dividing by 8, since there are 8 numbers. So we're going to go ahead and add 13 and 15 and 17 and 18 and 18 again. If it appears twice, we put it in twice, and 19 and another 19 and the 20, and we get 139. And we're going to divide that by 8 because there are 8 pieces of data. So if you divide that by 8, we get 17.375. As far as the mode goes, we look for what occurs the most. Remember, we said mode, the idea of what happens the most. Well, in this case, both 18 and 19 happen twice. So our mode would be 18 and 19, and we would say that this group of data is bimodal. So bimodal data set. Doesn't that sound fancy? All right, we skipped B. Let's go to C. The best measure of central tendency for Ryan's scores. Well, Ryan has this really nice cluster of scores right here. There are no outliers. So for Ryan, we are going to use the mean. We pretty much use the mean as long as it fits. So for Ryan, we're going to use the mean of the data set. Now, to calculate the mean of the data set, here comes our calculator again, we're going to add the numbers together. So we have a 15, and we have 16 twice, so 16 plus 16 plus, and we have 17 four times, so 17 plus 17 plus 17 plus 17, and you can see up in my calculator all those 17s, plus an 18, plus 18. And that is equal to 133, so we have 133, which we're going to divide by 8. Again, we have 8 pieces of data, and that gives us a mean of 16.625. All right, let's go ahead and put that away. Put that calculator away again. And now we're going to calculate the median for Ryan's scores. And to calculate that median, one more time, we have to put the data in order. So we have 15. 16 comes twice. 17 comes 4 times. Every time it appears, it has to be included. And 18 comes once. If we cross off smallest, largest, smallest, largest, smallest, largest, we're left with one set of numbers right in the middle. And in this case, since they are both 17, 17 is our median. And as far as the mode goes for this data set, we've got this big cluster of 17s, this big, you can see it right there on the chart, big cluster of 17s. So 17 would be the mode. All right, so that's your work on problem number 1. After you've had a chance to think about this just a little bit, then look over at problems 2 and 3.